failing to hold on to a game, and they are losing in the dying minute. So far, Tunisia is the third team to lose in the 90th minute. It all started with Egypt, then Morocco, and of course Tunisia being the third. Obviously for Nigeria, it's quite exceptional because Nigeria, the two goals came through just within the 90 minutes. But for the other three teams, it is a different story altogether. And of course, today we are obviously going to watch where Senegal will be taking on Poland. We'll talk more about that later on. But obviously, we have quite a lot to talk about, even in other sports disciplines. For example, the COSAG Games are on in Botswana. And of course, the Zambia volleyball team is in Botswana. They have lost one so far. They have also won one. And they're yet to play another one with Botswana. And of course, the female team will be taking on South Africa later on today as well. So we are here to talk more about the COSAG Games as well. Joining me on set is Ian Lowinda, who is going to help me look at a couple of other items that we have on the table today. Good to have you, Ian, and of course, welcome to the show. How is the World Cup so far going for you?
The World Cup is going on well, despite the disappointments by the African teams in also, but it's always good to be back on QTV.
Definitely. Let us start on a very, very lighter note, a very interesting note, especially to Zambian soccer fans fraternity.
Absolutely.
Yesterday we had Belgium taking on Panama, and of course Gianni Sikazwe was the man who was obviously blowing the whistle and of course making all those decisions here and there. To start with, what a landmark achievement by a Zambian referee so far, being the first.
Yeah, big achievement by Gianni Sikazwe Nelson. This man, he just came from Kapiriposh. He's a teacher by professional. He officiated the AFCON final between Egypt and Cameroon. Cameroon won that, and he has been officiating
Club World Cup final, Real Madrid and Aikma as well. He was the one who
I
think
a big achievement for this man. I think it's a lesson to some of these referees we have, because they are senior referees to Gianni Sikazwe who haven't officiated at big events like the World Cup, the AFCON. So I think it's a lesson. I think they just need to be loyal to the game, and they'll be able to officiate at these big events like the World Cup and the AFCON, the way Gianni Sikazwe is representing our country. Because social media was buzzing yesterday, the news that Gianni Sikazwe was the man in charge of the game between Belgium and Panama.
Interesting. When you look at that game as well, a certain section of social media have also been talking about his kind of, officiating. He made history where, he produced 5 yellow cards in one match. So far, the second highest in the history of football. The highest was somewhere in 1998, where, in one single match at the World Cup, 8 yellow cards. Now, this one, 5.
I am being the referee was the center of the game, and we have the video assistant referee who were helping him. So looking at that game, I think the Panama guys were too much on the other guys who plays in the Champions League, in the English Premier League. Because when you look at Belgium, predominantly most of the players who are in that team, they play their trade in the EPL, in the English Premier League. So for me, I think it's always how the guys were playing. So for him to remove a yellow card, meaning those guys were being reckless, because a yellow card means reckless, then a red card means excessive force.
Interesting. Now, that's an interesting interpretation of the two cards there. But when you look at that game, Belgium Panama, do you think it was such a tough game to attract about 5 cards, yellow cards?
It's how the opponents played. Like Panama, I guess they were kind of rough to their opponents. They knew how dangerous Belgium was because of the names they had in their team, the likes of Lukaku, the likes of De Bruyne from Man City, the likes of Eden Hazard from Chelsea. So I think they were very wary about the opponents. They were a better side on paper. Even during the game, I think Belgium were just too good for a team like Panama.
Interesting. Gianni Sikazwe making history for Zambian football as he becomes the first referee to officiate at such a huge tournament, which saw Belgium beat Panama by 3-0. Lukaku twice on target. First, it was quite, an underestimated header, but the second one, wow, it was a product of a very, very good counter-attack that is between Hazard and, of course, Lukaku as well. When you look at the way Belgium played, their next opponent, obviously, they'll be taking on England. Is it England or is it Tunisia?
Should be England.
They'll be taking on England. When you look at the performance of Belgium and, of course, the performance of England, what the next crash is gonna be?
I think this World Cup, Nelson, is very unpredictable because I think there are few underdogs in this World Cup because we didn't expect Russia would manage.
Maybe the only underdog we have is Saudi Arabia.
It's Saudi Arabia,
lost by 5-0.
Even Panama, for them to be beaten by 3-0, meaning they are also underdogs. But looking at England, they're under the tutelage of Gareth Southgate. For me, I think it's a work in progress. The team, we can call that team as a work in progress because we are looking at the team that he has gone with at the 2018 World Cup. They are more of youthful side, like most of the players are on the same age. I think the oldest should be Harry Kane, their captain. Looking at Hulbeck, the other guy who plays for Man City, Sterling. So for me, they are good players. They are their peak. They've played fantastic football in the domestic league, in the EPL. Looking at Belgium, for me, I think it would be a litmus test for them to play against England.
Litmus test for them. But one thing that worries me about England is that every particular tournament, every particular World Cup that comes, they always have different players. They always have. Most of these guys, they never even had an opportunity of playing with Wayne Rooney at the time he was playing as a talisman for England. So, even as much as you'd want to call it a work in progress, look at the next World Cup. You'd find that half of the team won't be there. So what work in progress is it?
They have a pool of players. Like they have a lot of clubs where they can choose their players from. I think the coach he picks players on merit. Jack Wilshere was left out because he didn't have much game time at Arsenal. So he was looking at players who were playing at their club, who were very consistent. Like looking at how the EPL was. So for me, I think he was picking the players on merit.
Okay. Interesting. All right, so England drew with Tunisia. England actually beat Tunisia by 2-1. Harry Kane on target twice. The last goal, it was the most painful. Quite unmarked. He was in the box all alone, and of course it was the 90th minute. They'd only been given about 4 minutes at a time, and as you know, as the fourth official was obviously producing the additional time, Flame, Harry Kane was on target, and of course he got the much needed goal. When you look at the way Brazil has played and of course the way England have played, it leaves so much to be desired because on paper they've got quite strong sides, very good names. Look at England, they've got Neymar is back on target, he's back in the team quite well. Look at Gabriel Jesus, he's also there. Look at Marcelo, look at Coutinho, look at Firmino, Fernandinho. You can go on and mention them. You'd find that almost the whole entire Brazilian team is a team full of names that have made an impact in European football. But they failed to make an impact against Switzerland, a side that has got only a few names that you can mention, Shaqiri, and of course Xhaka as well. Arsenal, just two. But Brazil, almost the whole entire team, you can actually name them, but they failed to make an impact.
Yeah, they failed to make an impact. So in Brazil, a big side. I think they've been the favorites whenever they qualify for the World Cup. I think it's more like a birthright for them to qualify to the World Cup. I don't remember the time they missed the World Cup. They've been going to the World Cup. They've been reaching the round of 16. So looking at their performance was below par. Looking at their opponent, Switzerland, for me, a little known team with just few names in their team who are playing their trade in these big leagues in Europe. So for me, I think Brazil, they tried their best. Neymar was outstanding. He tried to pull the strings. I think the defenders were just good at the end of the day. They were marking Neymar. They were marking Firmino. They marked Coutinho. So for me, I think Switzerland were wary for what was coming ahead of them.
Interesting. Let us look at the fixtures for the games that will be played today. Obviously, we have Colombia, Japan, and of course later on at exactly 17, we have Senegal taking on Poland. Now let us look at the Senegal team. Senegal is another big African team that has qualified to the World Cup on several occasions. 2002 managed even to get into the quarterfinals.
Yeah, the quarterfinals.
And as we speak, they are under the tutorship of Aliou Cisse as well, who was part of their team in 2002. Now, when you look at Aliou Cisse and his achievements so far, I think I wouldn't really love to underestimate him.
Yeah, he's a good coach. He is a good coach. I think he's the only local coach in Africa who has gone with the team at the World Cup so far. Because Egypt, they've got a foreign coach, Hector Cooper. Nigeria, they've got a foreign coach, Morocco, Hevrena. Even Tunisia. So I guess Senegal is the team to look out for this evening. But they're not facing a small team. Poland is a big team. They've got a world-class striker, Robert Lewandowski, the guy who plays for Bayern Munich. He was the top scorer in the Bundesliga. He was the top scorer for all the qualifiers. He scored 16 goals for Poland to qualify to the 2018 FIFA World Cup. So for me, I think it's going to be a big game for Senegal. But the guy we are looking out for, it's Sadio Mane. I guess he'll be carrying the weight of the continent on his shoulders due to the fact that these other teams that failed to perform, Egypt, Nigeria, with all the stars, Weabi, Moses, Mikel Obi. So we are looking out for Senegal tonight. If they can manage to beat Poland, then at least they'll put some smiles on the continent tonight.
Let us look at the Polish squad as well. Obviously, one of it's a squad that is has got quite players that are not known that much at the African continent, but it's a team that plays a very, very compacted type of football. It's a team that plays as a unit. The last time that I watched them, I think they played Chile. They had a very, very great game. Lewandowski was on target in that particular game. So obviously, as we're talking about Poland, we are also talking about Robert Lewandowski as well, being the talisman, the player that we are going to be looking at tonight, the player that we're going to, that Senegal has to be on the lookout, because he does not take chances so lightly. He knows what happens and of course what it takes to be a very, very good striker. Okay, so he's been a top scorer in the Bundesliga on several times, and at the moment he's one of the most sought for striker by so many big clubs. Obviously, we can talk about Real Madrid are after him. We can talk about Manchester United are after him. Arsenal are after him. Chelsea are also trying to have his signature as well. So he is a player that you cannot underestimate at the moment. But obviously, even as we are talking about Poland having Robert Lewandowski, Senegal have got Sadio Mane. Now, we have seen what Sadio Mane has done for Liverpool, and of course what he has done also for his country. In fact, when we were actually looking at African footballer of the year, he was among the top 5 best African players that we could talk about. So obviously Senegal have got something to boast about.
Yeah, they've got someone to boast about. Sadio Mane is a world-class striker. He scored in that Champions League final where they were beaten by Real Madrid by 3 goals to 1. So for me, I think Sadio Mane is a good striker. Egypt were depending on Mo Salah. Nigeria, they had the likes of Alex Iwobi and Victor Moses. Sadio Mane has been scoring goals for fun at Liverpool, at the Anfield, even in the Champions League. So in tonight's game, I think all eyes will be on Sadio Mane. If he can play the way he plays at Liverpool tonight for Senegal, I'm sure he'll be able to get us not less than 2 goals.
Interesting. All right, so Senegal, we're going to be looking at Sadio Mane. Okay, that's a man on your screen there. And of course, Aliou Cisse as well. Now, Aliou Cisse is a tactician. That's one thing I love about him. He's a coach who loves, putting into action what he has learned throughout his entire life and of course his entire career as a footballer, as a player. He would love to get what he has learned and of course put it into action. He's a tactician, and of course I love the way he employs his strategies as well. So tonight he's going to be put on the test. He's going to be put on the test, and of course he's going to be tested. Now let us look at what Senegal has done so far. In 2018, Senegal have played about 5 games.
Yes.
They've played against, they've played Luxembourg, they've played Bosnia-Herzegovina, and of course they've also played Uzbekistan, they've also played South Korea, and they've played Croatia as well. So out of the 5 games, they've managed to win about 1. They've only managed to win 1.
Yes.
They've lost 1, and of course they've drawn 3 games. They've drawn against Uzbekistan, they've drawn Bosnia Herzegovina, and of course they have drawn Luxembourg as well, lost to Croatia.
Yes, we won't judge Senegal on their friendlies, Nelson, because most of these teams, when they are heading for the big tournament like the World Cup, the AFCON, it's all about assessing all the players, because the coach gives room to most of the players who haven't played for Senegal for quite a while. So he was looking at these other players, fringe players who've been on the bench. So from all those friendlies Senegal played against, the coach was able to come up with the best 11, the team that you start with tonight, as they'll be taking on Poland.
Interesting. What are your predictions? Poland, Senegal.
Poland, Senegal, it's a tight one to call, Nelson, but I would love to see Senegal beating Poland, maybe by 2-0.
Looking at the precedents that other African teams have set so far, do you see Senegal really redeeming Africa tonight?
That's what we are hoping for, because right now, Africa, the team, I think it's just the same old stories whereby I think they haven't prepared. If a team is not doing fine at the tournament, meaning they didn't prepare enough for the tournament, because we're expecting a lot from the likes of Morocco. Look at Iran, the team that beat them. Iran, they only had I think it was a local based team that beat up Morocco. Morocco, they only had 2 players who are based in Morocco. All those players who are in that team, they are foreign players. So Nigeria is the same issue. The local players were not given chance. It was all about the foreign players. But tonight for Senegal, it's a big one, because also the defenders for Senegal, they should mark this man, Robert Lewandowski, tightly. They should not give him chance, because he will tear them apart.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, obviously at exactly 17, in the next few minutes, we are going to see the balance of power between Lewandowski and, of course, Sadio Mane as well. Now, who is going to win the trophy that you are seeing on your screen? Earlier on, I was with Mimi, and of course, she asked me one simple question. Nelson, what are your baitings? Which team do you think will win the World Cup? One thing that I told her was that when you look at that trophy, quite flashy, beautiful, some time back, it used to be very easy to predict, because you know for sure that just by the opening games themselves, you know for sure that, okay, looking at the performance of Brazil, Spain, Portugal, France, England, you even know the direction as to where the trophy might be heading to. But so far, looking at the performance of these big teams that I've mentioned, you'd find that they leave so much to be desired. It leaves so much to be desired, because at the end of the day, their performance does not actually guarantee them that they could win the trophy itself. In fact, when you look at the performance of teams like Sweden, teams like Iceland, and of course other so-called small teams, I think it has been very, very impressive. Away from talking about Senegal, we have another African team that will be playing its second game today at exactly 20 hours. And of course, we are talking about Egypt. Now, obviously, Egypt will be looking at what Mohamed Salah can actually do for the team, because he is going to be obviously tested in terms of how fit he will be for this particular match later on today. But so far, he's been declared fit for this particular game. Egypt will be taking on their second match against Russia. Russia opened the tournament with a 5-0 bashing of Saudi Arabia. Egypt, on the other hand, lost in the dying minutes. They lost in their dying minutes as well. Now, when you look at this match, Russia doesn't have big names. They only have a few names that we can talk about, Malkovich from Chelsea, and of course others as well. But when you look at much of the team, there are people who are known very little. Yeah. Egypt on the other side, I've got El Nini, and of course they also have Mohamed Salah as well, who proved in the EPL that they are very good players, very good midfielders, very good strikers, and so on and so forth. Scored goals for Arsenal and of course Liverpool as well. Now, when you look at this encounter, do you see Egypt really pulling off something?
Yeah, they can get through maximum points if they they just concentrate. They should not lose focus the way they were caught unaware in that dying minute goal, like when Uruguay just came in with the set piece, and the guy managed to head that ball into the net. So I think the likes of their captain Ahmed Fati, he was very outstanding in the wing. He was giving the ball to the midfielders. Elneny, the guy who plays for Arsenal, he was the orchestrator of all the ball movements in the middle of the park. So tonight, let's hope Mohamed Salah will start for Liverpool, because he's the only guy who can score for Liverpool. The others were given chance, but they didn't come to the party. So if Mohamed Salah starts for Liverpool, I'm sure they'll be able to get something out of the game.
Interesting, but I don't see Mohamed Salah really perform to his best, because I'm still thinking he's going to be a little cautious looking at the injury. That we cannot conclude that injury is 100% okay. Shoulder injuries are very funny injuries. I'll give you an example of the Tunisia game. Just in the first 10 minutes, their first choice was injured, and it was the same shoulder injury, and he was substituted. So shoulder injuries are quite funny injuries. So at this level, I bet to be disagreed to, but I cannot conclude that Mohamed Salah is fit 100% really to play at his best.
Okay. If he wasn't fit 100% to play at his best, what the technical bench could have done, they could have left him for the World Cup, because they've gone with him at the World Cup.
They need a name.
They need the name, but the guy is on the bench and people are waiting for him. Like in that game, you saw the guy was anxious. He really wanted to play.
But at the end of the day, Luwinda, look, he's been declared fit.
Absolutely.
But when you look at the BBC today, he has to pass through a fitness test, a lead fitness test. So now I'm thinking, why subject him to a lead fitness test if at all he's fit?
I think that's a question the team doctor for Egypt can answer, because I think he has been training him, like the whole technical department. I've been seeing the way Mohamed Salah has been faring in the training. So if he's not fit for the game tonight, then I think it's a big blow for Liverpool. But I just wish he can even just play even for just 20 minutes. Maybe we'll be able to just get a goal for Egypt.
Okay, great. So it's going to be Egypt taking on Russia at exactly 20:17. We'll have Senegal taking on, obviously, Senegal taking on Poland as well. All right, so the World Cup is still getting on. Obviously, tomorrow the first game will be between Uruguay and, of course, Colombia as well. Uruguay will be looking at banking more, and of course possibly getting all the 3 points as well, being among the first teams to qualify for the last 16 as well. For now, we take a break. When we come back, we also get back home and, of course, get to look at the results for the games that were played over the weekend. We had quite fantastic, results. Nkana, Zesco, and, of course, others as well. They had quite fantastic games. And, of course, we are yet to go to Botswana for the Kuksa games. Remember, the Zambia volleyball team is there. The Zambia female team is there as well. So we are yet to look at all those games that will be played today as well. But for now, we take a break.
As a believer, you need to know that you are on a journey of faith, and this is a Faith Avenue. We take you right in the Word of God. We have 4 segments under this wonderful house called Faith Avenue, and we are looking at the Word is Life segment, where we get deep in the Word of God, and in here we get to feed on the Word, because we know that Jesus is the bread of life. You need the Word for you to live and move on in life. There's always been a gap between you, the members of the church, and your clergy out there. So I come right in between, as a Messiah, to bridge up the gap. You get to know your clergymen right, well, and better. And this is called Cage and the Clergy segment.
You say it's his weakness.
The weakness of my father?
Yes, exactly. Well, if you know your dad well, then you should be able to tell us.
That's a dangerous question to ask.
Exactly.
Especially if you have to answer it and he's here.
On your celebrity segment, we bring to you live and direct your celebrities, where we just get to discuss their lives, get to know where they were born from, what they've been up to, schools they went to, and everything about them. It is on your celebrity segment.
All right. And that is why I did that song.
With that said, tell me, when were you born again? Are you born again?
I am born again.
You could be called a pastor and yet you're not yet born again.
To prove to you that this family is indeed growing, we have a new segment called The Art for Jesus. And this is where we get right in your church, We identify your group and make sure we bring out every talent possible in your church. It could be poetry, it could be singing, it could be rapping, rhyming as you put it. It could also be, sign dancing. We are bringing you out, to the public, the art for Jesus. Make sure to join us every Sunday at 10 hours for a premiere and at 17:30 a repeat and the final rerun on Saturday 8 hours.
Whatever it is,
Only on QTV. Experience of
forever the same.
Hi guys! Hello, beautiful people! Very best of entertainment, fun, excitement, and everything LSK.
Everybody who's in Zambia, you're Zambian too, you know what I mean? So, yeah, man, we're just so happy.
Hi, my name is Machamanda. I bring to you the 169 on QTV, your number one show transcending all the imaginable barriers, discoveries, explodes, realities, and the dares all in one package, uncovering the beauty of your nature in the air, on a safari, on water. 169. Here we believe the style is the only real luxury really desirable. In the 169, we will take you there. Call us, we shall come there. The world is waiting. Catch me every Saturday at 6:30 p.m. Exclusive QTV.
All right, so welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You're still watching Around Sports on QTV, and of course, we are still making a reflection on what took place over the weekend, and of course, yesterday, in as far as different sports disciplines are concerned. Now, obviously, when Portugal drew with obviously Spain 3-3. Ronaldo's name was all over social media. He impressed almost everybody, including his haters as well. They were highly impressed with the performance that he had put up. I think his effect was felt by Spain. But for Argentina, it was a different story altogether because Messi ended up really missing a penalty. And there's been a lot of funny images that are being posted on social media. I remember one of them involves, somebody, drew Messi as a beauty queen, and of course they said Miss Penalty, and they gave him a sash written Miss Penalty and stuff like that. Now there's one that I managed to get just to share with you that made me laugh as well. What you're seeing on the screen, that's where people now were trying to make funny of Messi, where Messi was more like writing a letter. He was signing something, but people had to doctor it and of course add up a few spices, and they were like, okay, he was writing a letter to Cristiano Ronaldo, asking Ronaldo to say what is your secret, when it comes to scoring penalties and stuff like that. So you can see it will take a long time really for us to settle the dust where Messi and of course Cristiano Ronaldo are concerned, because people are still debating in terms of who is good. In fact, Manchester United coach Mourinho apparently also said something in relation to the two. In fact, said apparently this might be the last World Cup for the two, that is Cristiano Ronaldo and of course Messi, of which I agree, because Messi is 30, Cristiano Ronaldo is 33. So if they do not produce the best for this World Cup, well, the next World Cup, I'm sure that their names will be long overdue and of course long forgotten as well. So that was just something just for you just to laugh about in terms of what's happening between Messi and of course Cristiano Ronaldo. Remember, the next fixture will be Morocco taking on Portugal, and of course Messi's Argentina will be looking at obviously what Serbia is going to do for them as well. Now let's get back to the local league as well. Over the weekend we had interesting results. Zesco managed to collect maximum points after they beat Nchanga Rangers by 2-0. But in Ghana it was a sad story because they lost for the first time in an away fixture. And of course it was Ghana 1 and of course Green Eagles 2. Green Eagles is always a team that is talked about. The Monze guys, they are always difficult to beat, especially when they are playing at the back of their yard.
Yeah, at their backyard in Choma. That should be Independence Stadium.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Green Eagles, they're a very good team. ZNS Green Eagles, we call them. Spencer South is calling for Green Eagles. In Ghana, Kalamba Boys, I think it's a team with a lot of fans here in Zambia. I think it's a loved team. It has got a big following. But going down to Green Eagles, for me, I think Green Eagles, it's a team which is kind of very difficult to beat whenever they're playing at their backyard in Monza. Most of the big giants who've gone to Choma, I think they've been beaten by a team like Green Eagles.
Let us look at the result sheet as well. As you can see on your screen there, ladies and gentlemen, those are the results for the games that were played over the weekend. Now, look at Zanaco. Zanaco also suffered another shocking defeat as well, as they went down by 1-0.
Yes.
Red Arrows did the damage.
Yeah, sensational Zanaco. They were not too sensational. Playing at the Nkoloma Stadium, it was the Lusaka Derby. Zanaco, I think it's not the Zanaco we knew maybe in the previous season, whereby whenever they are playing, if they are playing at home, they are winning. If it's away, it's a draw. This time around, it's been kind of a tricky season for them. So being beaten by Red Arrows, the Airmen, under the tutelage of Giovanna Janza, I think the pressure was just too much on Janza. I think it was a sweet
about
victory.
Time for him to get something.
Absolutely, it was a sweet victory for Red
Zanaco?
Arrows. Beating a big team like Zanaco, for me, I think they were very happy.
I think he can breathe now.
Absolutely.
And of course, Green Buffaloes, lost at home to Power Dynamos.
Yeah, losing at home. They were playing at Nkoloma Stadium on Sunday. Green Buffaloes, they've been a force to reckon with in the 2018 season. They've been getting maximum points at home. So very disappointing for them being beaten by Power Dynamos, Power Nainte, the team which also has got a big following in Kitwe and the country all over. So a big disappointment for Green Buffaloes, the Soldier Boys.
Forest Rangers going down to Buttecon by 1-0.
Yeah, they were lost in the Forest Rangers. They were beaten by Buttecon, big spenders, we call them, Buttecon. Raim Osman squading for Buttecon, the former Mighty Mufulira Wanderers striker. I think he's a guy who is finding goals for Buttecon.
Interesting. And of course, we also had, Lusaka Dynamos, who managed to overcome, National Assembly, beating them by 2-1.
Yeah, Lusaka Dynamos, they welcomed their top scorer, their top scorer, Chris Mugalu. He was on target once again for Lusaka Dynamos. The game was played at Sunset Stadium. National Assembly, not too good, been dropping points. The previous weekend again they lost. This time again being beaten by Lusaka Dynamos. They welcomed some of the players who were with the team at the COSAFA Championship in South Africa. So I guess Lusaka Dynamos also, they are big spenders. They've made the big investments in their team. So it's good that they are able to pick up maximum points.
Interesting. Okay, so obviously it was a bad weekend really for Zanaco and of course Nkana. Hopefully that they will be able to pick themselves up and of course soldier on. That is how football is. You fall, you get yourself up, you pick up your shoes, and of course you keep on moving. Let's get to Botswana as well. In volleyball, the Zambia volleyball team is in Botswana as we speak for the Kuksa Games, and of course so far their first game did not really go so well as they expected, because they were beaten by the Swana Queens 3-1. But the good part of it is that in the second game they managed to pick themselves up and of course managed to beat Lesotho by 3-0, and of course they have got only one more game to go. For the men's side, obviously they're hoping that they can get maximum points in Group A if they can beat Botswana and of course Lesotho as well. The ladies so far, I think they have impressed. First game they lost, second game they won. I think a fair result for me.
Yeah, a fair result for the ladies, because this team is Zambia now. Like all the universities and colleges in Zambia, they've contributed the player to this tournament. We once hosted these Kuksa games that was 2014 at the University of Zambia. and some other sports venues. So for me, the ladies, I think it's the same coach who is with the ladies and the
Exactly, John
gents.
Funsani.
Yeah, John Funsani, a very good friend of yours.
Exactly. He always complains when you ask him about the ladies. Mdala, Mdala, you know, working with ladies. Mdala, wakazi bafuta.
Yeah.
Exactly. But I'm sure, looking at when you look at the screen there, when you look at the results as they come through, I'm sure he must be a very happy man as we speak.
Yeah, he must be very happy with the ladies because it's not easy coaching the ladies. I've coached Onza Feso before, so I know what goes around whenever you're coaching these ladies. You know, so many complaints, and it's up to you, to the coach, to understand each player. Like, everyone has got this issue, this. But for John Funsani, a very good tactician, he's doing fine with the ladies. I think we're very happy seeing the results which are coming on the ladies' side. But the gents, I think they just need to pull up the stockings. We've got some few notable players, the likes of Mbeza from the University of Zambia, the likes of Kabanda from CB. I think it's a good combination of players, but it's disappointing that they're failing to get the much needed points in Botswana.
Do you expect any positivity from our teams at this year's Coxa Games?
Yeah, I expect a lot from them, Nelson. You know, these teams, they've been together. They've been in camp for the past. They've been preparing for the Coxa Games. I think for the past 1 month. They came. Most of the players who were busy with the exams, tests, assignments, and the likes, they come for the camp. They were doing fine in the camp. They played some friendlies. So, looking at where they are now at the Coxa Games, facing some opponents from Botswana, Namibia, South Africa, just hopefully they'll be able to get the much needed points, because they're a good team. These are good players. When you watch them in the domestic league, they play fantastic volleyball. So even at the Coxa level, we expect a lot from them.
Interesting. All right, so congratulations to the ladies. I'm glad that they were able to exhibit resilience. Fail the first game, but they told themselves to say, guys, we just need to pick ourselves up and of course go forward, as well as they beat Lesotho by 3-0, and hopefully that even the men team will be able to reciprocate the same. They will be able to pick up maximum points as well. Remember, they have South Africa to play, so South Africa is not always an easy side when it comes to men's volleyball as well. Hopefully that they will be able to pick up something. And of course, remember the ladies side as well in football, they'll be playing South Africa as well. So South Africa has not really been a very good opponent for Zambia, so hopefully that they will be able to pick up something and be able to pick up maximum points. All right, so this is where we have to wrap it up for today, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for your time. Hopefully we'll be back on Thursday with another edition of Around Sports as we reflect on how the World Cup is turning out to be, and of course some more fixtures in relation to the games that will be played over the weekend. And of course, remember, we are still counting down towards the main event in rugby. Remember, Zambia will be hosting an international tournament in September, where different Southern African teams will be coming here on the 1st and of course 2nd of September. And of course, Zambia will be hosting this tournament, trying to take advantage of this tournament to build ourselves up for future international tournaments as well. So we'll be updating you in terms of how their preparations are definitely moving. Otherwise, for now, it's bye-bye and God bless.